I mean, there were arcade games that we had. First one was like Pong, and loved that. And then there was like Asteroids, and then Missile Command or something where you tried to stop the missiles coming in. And then there was Pac-Man. Truthfully, I wasn't much of a gamer after that. That's not true. I guess I played... There was a period where I wasn't working much, and Susan was going off to work, and my neighbor and I, we just like went down the rabbit hole on some video game and just sat around and kind of played video games till our thumbs hurt and drank all day. I'd never played Mortal Kombat. I had just sort of finished a couple movies. This movie 8 Seconds, which was a Western, and then Wyatt Earp, which was a Western. And I needed, like, career-wise, I needed to follow it up with something. And this movie came, Mortal Kombat, and I went in and I read for it and met with them. And I liked them. They liked me, and I just, like I say, I never really paid any attention to the game. I just paid attention to the script, and we worked on it a lot, and you know, Paul and myself, for one reason or another, Paul needed this movie to work. I needed this movie to work. Robin needed this movie to work. And Talisa and Bridget and Christopher and Carrie, kind of everyone came together, and no one took it lightly. No one like kind of walked through it. Everybody sort of gave it their all, and I think we got lucky. You know, we got lucky. It was, nobody thought this movie was going to be successful the way it was. I mean, I don't think the studio thought it. Not to go into details, but the deal I made, they definitely didn't think it was going to be as successful as it was. Which was good for me.
This is where you fall down.
I wasn't a big gamer, but Johnny Cage didn't have much of a personality in the video games. There was nobody that I really used for any kind of inspiration on Johnny Cage. I don't know, man. Maybe I was just young enough and cocky enough to figure I'm fucking Johnny Cage. This is a character that I can create. You know, it was sort of this tough, wise guy, full of himself. And, you know, it's funny because my friends were like, that I grew up with, they were like, I watched this movie. They were like, you aren't even acting. You're just being yourself. I hope I'm a little more genuine than Johnny, but Johnny's genuine at the end of the day, right?
Where the hell are we?
Do I look like your travel agent?
I think that the fear that Johnny faced is that he thought he was fake. And I think we all struggle. I know I struggled with not ever thinking I was enough. You know, and now in my life, I think I've finally gotten to this point where it's like, no, I am. And I go, why couldn't I have had this understanding, 40 years ago? I'd have conquered the world. But I didn't. I don't think I ever thought that I was enough.
You'll fight bravely enough, but foolishly, carelessly, and you'll be beaten.
And that was in the script, that was well written, and it is. It's always there. It's always this thing in the back of his mind, of my mind, of like, am I a fake? Am I any good? Am I full of shit? Am I, all these things. Yeah, I think it's that sort of through line for him to prove that he's not. To prove that he's not a fake. To prove that he is enough. I would have liked to have sort of explored that more.
What have you done?
I made a choice. This is our tournament, remember? Mortal Kombat. We fight it.
All that stuff we sort of found that's become, Johnny Cage. And a lot of that was like improv and we came up with and we changed the script a lot.
Those were $500 sunglasses, asshole.
$500 sunglasses asshole was an improv. Thank God I didn't ask him to park the car. It was improv. A lot of stuff that we just kind of came up with on the day.
Thank God I didn't ask him to park the car.
We couldn't do, this big fight with Goro just because he didn't work that well. We thought that he could do something, but there was no fight that you could have with him. He would overheat and short circuit and freeze up. And so we came up with this thing of just doing splits and hitting him in the nuts. You weren't working with Shakespeare, right? This wasn't Chekhov. This wasn't, Tennessee Williams. It's like we could play around with this dialogue. We could play around with scene structure. We could bounce it all around. And it was this script was a great platform to build on, to create on. We never lost the stakes, the seriousness of, life and death, but we also made it really fun. I think as an actor, I think as a director, anyone in any walk of life, you really, you do your homework, right? And you gotta target how you want this to go, a vision. And then the gift is to get to work and let that go. It's a happy accident. It's a collaboration. It's no one person makes a movie. It's everyone comes together and creates this thing. And that's the beauty of it. My first meeting with Paul Anderson was great. I actually don't remember it. He was this kid, and he had done this movie called Shopping, which I watched. It was good. The movie was good. He was talented. I didn't know what to think. I mean, and as far as making a successful, video game movie, no one had ever done it before. I mean, people forget there had been like Mario Brothers and Double Dragon and was there Street Fighter? I don't know. I know, but there were big name video games that had just flopped, when they made them into movies. And I remember, Paul doesn't give much, if he doesn't know you. He's a listener. Paul has this gift that he can sit in a room and he lets everybody else do the talking. And he listens. And then eventually everyone sort of turns to him and he'll be like, Or, Paul plays it pretty close to the vest. He does. He's incredibly focused, and he left you alone for the most part, which is great. And he created this kind of like very sort of safe space to work in. But he was really open to changing things and to improv and to, you knew he was going to take care of you in the fights. And visually, he had such a clean, clear vision of how he wanted it to be. I mean, 30-something years later, we're still pretty good friends. So I must have liked him all right.
Let Mortal Kombat begin!
I studied a little martial arts. I boxed a lot. I had pretty good hands and not great feet. And I trained. And the funny thing is that I got into, started training for that film and kind of never stopped. I'm still training. So I didn't have a huge martial arts background, and I was surrounded by people who were fucking great. Mr. Johnson was amazing. Pat was a Tong Soo Do guy. The one thing that I love is, I think Pat did Karate Kid as well. And, wax on, wax off. And it's became such a sort of catchphrase or whatever, wax on, wax off. And it's the basis for all of your defense and, all of your moves. It's great. Pat was a very rigid martial artist, big strikes and, very traditional martial artist. And Robin was from a different background. Robin, I think, wushu. It's a very theatrical martial art. And Robin's like, this will look better on film. Do it this way. And I'm like, right on. And Robin was doing stuff that not a chance I was going to do. Robin's a really good martial artist. I'm like a sponge. I subscribe to the, what's the old thing in Hollywood of, you steal from one person, you're a plagiarist, steal from 3 people, you're a genius. And we borrow as artists, I think. And then you borrow and it filters through yourself and comes out as something original. So I could have never imitated his martial arts, but he helped me a lot. And the scorpion fight, Robin choreographed that. It wasn't in the original cut. That was reshoots. We went back and got that. It was at least a week, if not more, devoted to that one fight. Just physically, it was demanding. It was really fun, but he got banged around pretty good.
Welcome!
And look, I had great doubles. I'm an okay martial artist. I can do the moves. My doubles made me look really good. Made me look great. It's like they saw something in there and they were like, we're missing this. And if we get this, we got something. And it was the reptile fight and the scorpion fight. And they're still really great fight sequences. And I love that, they're shot differently than they are now. The technique is a little dated. I mean, Paul would do, I don't know how many takes of The Master. I'm like, oh my God. It's not necessarily the way you do it now, but it sure does look good. And it was really important to Paul and to me and to Robin and to everybody. Like if I threw a kick on screen, you see me throwing this kick. You see me doing this technique, for the most part. Like the splits, it's not me. I mean, I could get like low down, and I can't even remember who did the splits, but there's a quick cutaway in it, they drop down. But no, I'm not a splitter. I never have been, never will be. That's for the next time around, next life, I guess. When I finally saw the finished film, I thought it was great. I remember that the one thing that I was like disappointed in when we were on the ship and it's like, it has begun or whatever, and and there's a little skeleton head floating in the sky. And I was like, yeah, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. And if that's the only thing that I can take away from it and go, oh man, that's pretty good. We had a lot of fun making that movie. We worked really hard, but we laughed equally hard. And I think that, you always wish to sort of be able to go back and redo something. I don't know that I would do it any different. And I love the fact that it's become this sort of cultural touchstone, for a really wide, I would say generational, but it's more than generational. It's like people love that movie. People still love that movie. I mean, I was in what is it, Cantor's Deli And we're going up, and we had been somewhere, and Susan and I were walking up the counter, and the guy behind the counter just goes, in the middle of the counter, he goes, "No fucking way!" He goes, "Fucking Johnny Cage!" He goes, "Dude, you're making my fucking day!" And this is like, 2 years ago. And he goes, "My brother and I used to just beat the shit out of each other. And we wore that videotape out." And it's fun to have been a part of that. That I could be there for him and his brother to beat each other up. It's good.
Come to a little tournament, he said. Be good for the career, he said. Yeah, right.
Test your might.